ever worried that you might be the cool kid? You wear the latest fashions on top of all the trends? Or have you ever worried you were too much in the mainstream? Always so generic, more normal than your friends? Well, we've devised a test to put to rest your fears. There's no need to panic if you lend us your ears. Tonight you can sleep easy after all that you've heard. Cause if you like the show, then you're probably a nerd. Oh, Canon, it's all.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the It's Canon podcast, the podcast where we talk about all things geek, the podcast where we talk about all things video games, books, comic books, Lego, what have you. We're your hosts, I'm Boris, and this week I am joined by Phil.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to give you a public service announcement right off the bat that you can track us down on Instagram, X, or formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook at It's Canon Podcast, and you can find us anywhere where you find podcasts, so please leave a like and subscribe if at all possible. And thank you, Boris, for having me along for the ride.
Anytime, my friend, anytime. How are things going? Anything new? Anything exciting?
Oh, there's a lot of TV going on.
Yeah,
that's one thing
you were saying.
Yeah, it's a lot of TV. I'm telling you, it's a lot of show. We got the Twisted Metals now, right? For those old school PlayStation gamers. You know, the adaptation, the 10 episodes have dropped, and they're available in Canada on Paramount Plus.
What's funny about that
subscription?
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later, because at the end, our topic du jour, we're going to essentially be talking about how streaming is actually costing more than cable nowadays for some people. And it's funny how this even came about, because I was just planning to do like a general catch-up episode, but I saw this article and I'm like, you know what, this is something great, and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit to end the show. But what's even funnier about what you said about Twisted Metal is, like, so we see all the advertisements on American shows that Twisted Metal, I think, is on Peacock and things like that, right? But no one fucking knew where Twisted Metal was going to be here in Canada. Like, I had no idea. Like, literally no idea. And then someone tagged me on a random post early last week, and saying that it's on Paramount Plus. I'm like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, you know what? Like, seriously, it could have shown up on so many different things. Because sometimes Peacock shows show up on Showcase here. So I half expected it to show up on Showcase. So I'm watching like that whole chorus group of entertainment channels to see when the commercials are hitting for it. Because like Brave New World, I think, was a Peacock show, that type of thing. And I'm just like, wow, like, where the hell is this thing? Like, where's it going to land? And then luckily I saw Fearless Fred tweet about it, of all things. And I thought, oh, geez. So, I bit the bullet in terms of taking out a free trial. I evaluated everything that I could see in that feed, and I was like, yeah, that's about a week's worth. So,
all right, here's a good question for you in terms of streaming, Paramount, AMC, things like that. Do you get them individually, or do you go through your Amazon account?
For this one, I went through my Amazon account.
I prefer just combining them, because Amazon here in Canada, I don't know how it works exactly in the States. Like, I know that you can't get Paramount Plus and things like that through Amazon, but here in Canada, they consider them channels, right? So you can get stuff like Hulu, you can get AMC Plus, you can get Paramount Plus, a whole slew of them, and you essentially go through your Amazon account. And I kind of like that, because it's just one place that you have to see for whatever you want.
It's even crazier though if you use Google TV, because then it aggregates on another level.
Yes.
So it starts amalgamating everything that you've got through your streaming services into one de-streamed homepage that links to your streaming services. So you see all the movies, and it gathers all the information of what you've been watching, and it says, do you want to pick up after this? or this is available and it's currently trending and you have access to it, or this is trending and we think you'd like it, but you have to rent or buy it. So you
Yeah.
get all the options right on the screen, much like Amazon's doing, right? And I would imagine Apple does it, because I think Fearless Fred said that he's doing it with his Apple TV Plus subscription,
Yep.
because he found it
Yep.
was cheaper that way.
Apple does
So
that. Apple does that as well. They aggregate a lot of these channels into one, and it's kind of cool because like it does remember what you've watched. So sometimes, if you so happen to connect things to your Apple TV Plus account,
yeah,
you'll get, hey, there's a new episode of this. You know?
it's an interesting world that we live in now with these streaming services and the way that they're knitting everything together. It's almost overwhelming, because you start to get stifled in by too specific of a thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you haven't finished Good Omens season 2. Oh, you're right. I only watched one episode of that. Hey, you haven't watched Secret Invasion, and that's like a 98% hit. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know if I want to do that to myself. Hey,
Yeah.
you haven't watched Invasion. Invasion season 2 is coming out later in August. Oh yeah, I started watching that like a year ago and I got creeped out by it. I should go back to that. So I started watching Invasion. And then Apple TV, I'm telling you, man, they do some good stuff on there, because Invasion's like great. And number two, the other thing that I've been following fairly closely, closer than I'd like to admit, is Foundation. I watched season 1. I enjoyed it. It gave me the Isaac Asimov sci-fi, you know, flutters. But season 2 is really remarkably coming together as just good TV.
Yeah.
But as well, Silo, which we didn't talk much about, that one I've invested quite a few episodes into as well. I have to finish that off. I finally finished off For All Mankind, another Apple TV. And then you got your Netflix dabbling and stuff. And increasingly I'm getting close to cutting ties with Netflix.
Hmm.
But that being said, I kind of want to watch that Scott Snyder thing at the end of this year. The Star Wars, was supposed to be Star Wars sci-fi
Yeah.
thing that he's doing for Netflix. So there's always a hook, right? Sandman season 2. And you're
Netflix.
like,
It's funny. Like Netflix has enough scattered throughout the year where they keep you. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I don't know.
yeah.
Like, yeah. It's
It's become
yeah.
such the word, right? Like the whole Netflix and chill thing. It really embodies streaming services. And if you don't have Netflix, you feel like when somebody comes over and they say, "Oh, fire up Netflix. You got to see the newest Black Mirror." And you go,
Yeah.
I don't subscribe
I
to
don't have
Netflix,
it.
but I have Apple. Huh? I don't have
Yeah.
Apple. I have Netflix. Everybody's got Netflix. It's kind of like school ground brag there. Like, this is what we got. Everything's on Netflix. Well, not really. But yeah, but stuff is.
Yep.
My dad loves Netflix, because then he gets to sit down there and go,
That's
"Oh,
my dad and my parents love it because there's enough like Mexican Latino dramas and stuff that keeps them hooked. So I'm like, okay, I enjoy it.
well, the best thing is, if you ever notice this, the old person brag. So when your parents get to a certain age and they start hanging out in like old age homes or homes for the aged that are independent living, that type of thing, they congregate and they brag. My son called me yesterday and we talked for an hour. It was magical. What about your daughter, Marigold? Did she call you? No. Oh, nobody loves you. But my dad had strut into that
So
place and he
true.
goes, my son, yeah, he hooked me up with Netflix and I streamed Netflix last night. He set it up for me. I watched the most violent movie I've ever watched and I turned it off and pissed myself.
Yep.
It's just
It's
hilarious, right?
100%
It's like
true.
this bragging thing, like, your son helped you stream something? What streaming? He asks me all the time still. So what exactly is streaming? You know the Netflix channel? Yeah,
The
that's
Netflix channel.
streaming.
Yep.
It was
Old
literally a
people.
channel on our box our bell
Yeah.
box until they disabled it last week. And he's all upset. And I'm like, I bought you a Google TV here.
That's amazing.
He still doesn't know how to use it, but hey, I'm just like,
Old
that
people.
button there, that's pause. That's pause.
Hell of a thing. It's a hell of a
Hell of a
thing.
thing.
Old people,
I'll
man.
tell you something else that I've figured out. I've always been a colored light fan in terms of the LED stuff, right? So years ago, you had the ability to order cheap shit off the internet, or you could order Philips Hue. And Philips Hue was anything but cheap, but it was good. And what you needed to do with a Philips Hue was buy a bridge, and the bridge had limitations. And then the new bridge comes out, so you have to reinvest to buy a new bridge. And then each light isn't cheap. This is the kind of stuff that you go to Best Buy or Home Depot for here in Canada. And this was before Amazon hit it really big. And you'd buy a light bulb, and if you wanted it to be color, you're looking at $60 or $70 Canadian to buy just a single light bulb. So I would run out every few weeks and buy a light bulb and build up the collection until I've replaced the majority of my lights in a certain room to be one way
Yeah.
type thing. So I've done this. And the interesting thing is that those lights have traveled with me through personal turmoil moves, everything like that. And they still work. And I've just been largely nah, whatever, it works. Work from home comes along, pandemic. I invest in a little bit bigger of a light rig for most of my stuff and start to dream about gaming with it and things like that. But still, it either involves a computer to be exclusively controlling it and being the entertainment box, or for a really expensive, several $100 HDMI conversion box.
Yeah.
So I started investigating this other company of lights after my brother gave me, a thumbs up saying that he's equipping some of these lights. And they're on Amazon because I've tried some of the cheapy Amazon stuff and it's just crap. But I tried Govee. And let me tell you,
Govee.
Govee.
G-O-V-I?
Govee.
E-E-E.
Yeah.
Okay.
These things are
yeah.
awesome for the money.
I've seen these. I've
lamps,
almost bought them.
Yeah, I've bought 3 lamps so far. The floor lamps. I bought floor lamp, the Lyra. I have 2 Lyras. I have a behind the monitor, fully active camera on my monitor, reactive lighting behind my monitor for when I'm watching movies and playing video games. Now I'm installing it on a 55-inch TV with a dual camera setup. And I've got other lamps and they all sync to the music or the visuals. I can link them, I can unlink them. I've even got temperature gauges in my room so I can monitor the relative humidity and temperature and chart it for months and years at a time. It's awesome stuff and it doesn't break the bank. The thermometer was like $30 shipped.
Yeah.
The lamps
That's awesome.
are like $100 shipped. And you have to put them together, but the Philips Hue one, which doesn't do as much, is like
so I'm
$350.
I know. I'm looking to replace my backlight. I just use a regular ring light for stuff like that. But as you can see,
yeah, you need to fill out the space.
I need to fill out the space. So I'm thinking of doing an X pattern, right? And I know that that's how I would fill it out better. So I've been looking I can get a second ring light, but I kind of want more coverage because I think that's what I would need, right? So
the Govees, man.
I've been looking at I'm looking at these. I had them on my my cart for 2 months.
Yep, they are the real deal. No hubs. They hook up to a 2.4 gigahertz wireless network, so your sub network. You just hook them up to that, and they all work off your phone, an app on the phone.
Beautiful.
And the great thing is that you can also get. There's a new product that just came out earlier this year, and it is available on Amazon Canada. And that is, they actually have lights that hang in strips, and then you can program the pattern behind you, Boris.
Yep.
It's like $200. So you
I kind
can
of want to
make
get
like
that.
you can kind of make like if you wanted to put like the It's Canon podcast logo streaming
Exactly.
in the background, you can literally take a picture with the camera of the logo and import it into that system.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that stuff's wild to me.
I know.
As a kid
But
who,
with
grew up
streamers,
without
right? Like,
stuff, right?
like, okay, so like this side of the room, I'm happy with. This
No,
side,
you need light.
I need something there. Now, I know what I want, and it's a piece of art. So you see that like Sharpie thing I have behind me,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
essentially gonna be a huge ass one. The artist and I, we've been talking about it for a little bit, and looks like I'm gonna get one. But now after that, right? I just need that lighting to
Yep.
bring it all together. Which again, happy with the lighting that I have right now, but
Oh, I'm telling you, like even the desk lamps and everything, you can just pick the thing that I'm like cursing right now is just I need more power outlets,
yeah,
right?
that's
It's crazy how big the adapters are, so you need to get the specialized and power bars because to get the lights going the way that you'd think is pretty cool. And as well, now I'm draping everything because I'm learning more and more about lighting and YouTube. I know I'm a work in progress for here, but learning lots about diffusion techniques and the art of backlighting a wall to be white so it's reflective of the lights and things like that. Like I'm just like even for home entertainment, I'm like, oh, I don't need to go out and buy an $80 panel. I can just use
no,
a bloody cheap shower curtain.
yeah,
And guess what? It's going to reflect light and it's going to look awesome on movie night.
yep.
So I'm just finding all these little shortcuts and it's fun. It's a great
It is
little
fun.
pastime.
It is. It is. It's like I remember when you were getting into like mics and all that.
Yeah. I settled on a mic. It's great now because now all these other mics are coming along and I'm going, nah, happy with mine. It's just the way it is. And even that being said, I did manage to round out my collection in the past. I did my pre-order on Spider-Man Across the Universe or Across the Spider-Verse 4K because I'm going to get the 4K discs as long as I can get the 4K discs because they got discontinued in Australia by Disney. So this is a pretty major blow to the industry now. When they start cutting out continents, you know that they're going to be working towards doing it for us. So I got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on digital on 4K. And I also got The Last of Us Season 1, which one thing that I will say, if anybody has this problem with Amazon, when you do pre-orders, which I don't do often, have you noticed that your pre-order gets canceled almost at the day of shipping because they say that the item number has changed? And then when you actually go, like when you try to go back in and pre-order the item, it's only listed at double the cost of what you previously had it pre-ordered for. And I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm not buying that. And then the next
Yeah.
thing you know, I wait a few days and it goes back to $50. I reorder it and I get it for the $50 instead of the 92.
Yep.
Like, that's a scam if I ever saw one. I don't understand what
100%.
they're doing, but it's happened to me a few times and it's made me kind of cold fish on pre-orders now.
For sure. But for me, it's always worked out. But yeah, it always gets me a little nervous.
They do some weird stuff, and it's a lot of different Amazon things. It's not just one or two sellers. It feels
No,
like Amazon does
I
it.
don't trust the sellers. I don't trust the sellers, right? Like that's all. I'm always weary on the. And sorry, everyone. I'm fixing my camera because it's really bothering me because I know it's straight, but it doesn't seem straight. But I know it is straight. It's straight, right, Phil?
Yeah, looks all right to me.
Yeah, looks weird.
Yeah, but look
I
at
had to
me. I'm
fix
on
my
an
camera.
angle.
Yes. Yeah, I had to fix my camera yesterday because I was live streaming something and professional setup and everything, and they had me like fixing my camera, but I didn't like the angle that it was coming in, so I just refixed it as we were talking because that's what
Yeah.
we do here on the It's Canon podcast. But yeah, no, yeah, I've never had an issue with Amazon proper, like proper Amazon whatever. But like once you get into the marketplace and stuff, it's the Wild West. I don't trust them.
I don't blame you because but some of the stuff we don't really get much of the stuff happening through Amazon. It is the Wild West because the products aren't, like the products aren't stockable or stackable the way that Amazon wants them. Because I think the market is shrinking. And as someone's pointing out, same with Lego, right? It's sometimes it's so niche that maybe a seller is only getting 25 of them or something,
Yeah.
but they're taking like 100 pre-orders. The other thing that I've had a runaround on was I pre-ordered a Jim Henson book, and it was like a comic that was all 3 comics in one. Highly desirable just to have a condensed version of these comics because they're pre Dark Crystal things. And I waited a year and a half for a pre-order to be filled until I canceled it. I
Yeah.
was getting an email every 3 months saying, "We're so sorry, we're still gonna ship your item." They never got it. They never had it. And I don't know what's worse, like getting screwed out of it right away at the beginning and then trying to scramble if you really wanted it, or just getting towed along that line and just, "Oh, we're gonna get it someday, maybe." But
Yeah.
this coming from the most
It's
lazy man in the world, I literally canceled all of my Manscaped subscriptions, except there was one. I ordered a bottle of cologne, which I thought was a good idea, sight unseen, right? And they kept on replenishing it and sending it to me for like $50. And I finally logged in tonight before the show and said, "No, stop it. I don't want your business with you anymore. My credit card number changed and somehow you still found a way to bill me."
right.
It's like trying to quit a gym, trying to quit
It
Manscaped.
is.
Good luck,
Oh, I know.
guys.
I know.
They have
It's
they have
crazy.
a freaking angle on everything just because you wanted to shave your balls for a little bit.
It's true. It's true. I've never actually ordered to them, but you're not the first person telling me that like how crazy it is
Well,
with
you can't
some of
just
these Amazon order.
like you have to send like a letter through verified mail to quit. It's unbelievable. They won't let you
So
administer your account from your account. Everything has to
you
be done through an email.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. You brought up something really interesting earlier, and it's something that I kind of want to touch on just a little bit. And that's kind of like the physical media kind of fizzling away
Mhm.
from these companies, and you're gonna see it more and more and more and more, right? Like
Hey, the minute Disney do it, writing's on the wall.
that's yeah, exactly, and right like at that point, like we how far until we're in a no physical media world.
I don't like that
And what's
idea.
worse, hold on. What's worse? And this is going to piss me off is when are they going to put the blame on us that the environment is shit because we want physical media?
Oh, exactly. That's going to be part of the rub, isn't it? But the worst part for me is that even with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the the 4K version that's streaming right now is different than the version that's streamed in the theaters.
Yep. Well, there were a few
The last
different
time I
versions
saw,
in the theater.
yeah, the theater had multiple
A-
versions.
And then there's Disney Sony has essentially said what you see on the digital release, that is the canon of the movie.
It's a crazy thing to think of because that's what bothers me quite a bit about streaming services when they start to redact and edit
After the
episodes
fact.
after the fact.
Yep.
I don't mind if they change it. I don't mind that George Lucas made changes to the original trilogy. What I do mind is losing my hands on a copy of the original cut. When it's done at the expense of the collector, that really bothers me because I still have DVD copies of the original movies. I know people will say they don't exist. They do exist. They were for
Of
sale
what?
of the original trilogy.
Oh yeah, they exist.
Yeah, but a lot of people insist that they don't. And then they
No, they
act
exist.
shocked as shit when you open up the DVD cases and there's like, well, there's this version of the movie, which was from 1980s, and this version of the movie, which George recut in
Remember
1999.
back in 2000, I want to say 5, 6, 7, something like that. I forget exactly
Yep, before the
when they
Disney
actually
sale.
when they actually released the original unfuckified version of them
Yep.
on DVD
With the fuckified version. So you
with the
got both
fuckified
versions.
version.
Yep, you got
Yeah,
both versions. But it was only if you went out and tracked them down. And a lot of people, I guess, didn't track them down because everyone gets so cynical about it. But when you're like me with Star Wars, I buy every version that they release. If they change a
I
block for it, I buy
I'm
it. Right?
pretty sure that me and Juan still have the 1995 VHS
Yep.
release of the THX um
Yep.
improved version of the movies.
Oh,
Right
I
before
would
they
too.
was it 95? Yeah, it was 95 or 96 because shortly thereafter was when they came out to theaters with the new. That's when.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have even the older ones, like the actual ones from we would pick them up from consumers distributing and Jumbo Video, like the old like
How?
rewatched.
Okay, this is so funny. This is literally the second time in 24 hours that I'm talking about Jumbo Video.
Oh man, that was the shit, that place.
Remember when you walked in? It would just smell of popcorn because you always
Yeah,
got
because
free
they're making
popcorn.
popcorn there. Yeah, you got free
Yeah.
popcorn while you're looking for a movie. It was a brilliant idea, right? And you had all those wire racks. So it was just like you could see through the store if the store was
And then you had
starting
the
to
porn
empty.
section.
Oh, we didn't have a porn section in our town. We
Oh, we
weren't
had a porn
allowed.
section in mine in Mississauga.
Oh man. But I remember this is the funny bit right now because it's going through a big nostalgia phase with Clerks, right? Kevin Smith and Clerks. Is at the time you could order a new version of Clerks on VHS, but it was like 60 to $90. It was something outrageous because there
Yep.
wasn't a retail version. They were only selling versions to rent because everybody rented videos.
Yep.
And what happened was I walked to Jumbo Video, which was across my town. So I walked an hour every day checking the previously viewed for sale rack until I got my copy of Clerks for $9.99. And I picked that bastard up, and I was the most popular kid to get invited to any parties because I had a copy of Clerks. So people could sit down and finally watch it and not have to worry about all the rigmarole. So, oh
That
my
is
goodness.
funny.
There's
There's
still one
still
in
one
London.
in London. That's amazing.
Oh, I might have to visit that.
I know, right? Okay, that's it. That's it, Phil. We're taking It's Canon on the road one week. We're going on the road. We're going to London. Field trip to London. It's actually funny. There's a lot of things out in London that I want to visit, like in terms of geekery.
Big city, bigger than what
Yeah.
people make out, especially here in Canada. But yes, I do think it will be sad when we have the death of physical media. I really think that that's going to be a dark day, especially as a collector. It burns me right now that Disney's leaving money on the table and they're crying about all their billions of dollars that they don't have. And it's
Stop
like
giving away shit for free.
if you
You shit
just
for brains.
if you just made DVD copies of The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ahsoka, if you made
Can you
4K of those things,
imagine,
holy
Phil,
shit. Like you're gonna
Phil,
print money.
if Disney got off their high horse and gave us 4K versions in some, probably for the 50th anniversary, they'll do this. So what? 2027 of Star Wars, the original cut, the George
Oh,
Lucas cut. They can call it something nostalgic so that they can feel like they're doing us a huge favor, right?
the
Can
John
you imagine how
Favreau,
much money,
the John Favreau handy special.
right? Yep.
Here
And,
you
and
go,
I can see them
fanboys.
doing that in 2027. Honestly, for the
I could.
50th anniversary.
John's talked about the fact that they exist. Because for the longest time, Disney said they don't exist anymore. And it's like, it's like
You
everything.
think
They sit there and they go,
George
"Eh,
Lucas
this
would
is all
not have
gone."
kept them?
Hey, George, I keep everything. I threw that out. Like, I just don't believe it. It's just like everything.
He
Oh, look, this fire went through and destroyed everything. Miraculously, Star Wars survived. Like, it's just that story is just waiting to happen. Like, it's just everything was black mold. ET is gone, but Star Wars survived.
Yep. I'm calling it right now. August 14th, 2023. In 3.5 years, we're going to be getting the 50th anniversary edition, the original director's cut. And they'll call it something stupid. The Nostalgia Act. The we're paying for the next phase of Marvel version of Star Wars 4K.
At that point, the whole franchise is going to be in tatters, man. It'll
But
no.
Kathleen Kennedy will still be employed.
Yeah, I know, right? No, what it will be is the new Apple Disney Star Wars.
Don't even joke about that.
It's happening, man. I'm telling you.
Don't even joke about that. I know it's happening.
Apple Star Wars presents the original cut for the 50th year anniversary. And Lego is only going to cost $5,000 for a 4-man battle pack. But they'll have Apple logos. Attack of the Clones. They're all going to have 5 phones on them. They're going to superimpose it.
It'll be called the Steve Jobs cut.
Ooh, Steve Jobs cut. There'll be little IMAX floating around.
Yeah.
Just the different colors. Ooh,
remember like the Technicolor was like the orange and the green,
yeah,
with the clear
teal
plastic bag,
and purple.
Replacing all the TIE fighters with those.
Yeah, I could see it.
The X-wings will just be a bunch of the X-wings will just be different versions of the iPods.
Yeah, the TIE fighters will be Newtons. The Death Star will be the Google logo.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, the TIE fighters will be Stadia controllers then.
Stadia controllers.
Oh man.
Worth just as much. By the way, speaking of which, that just reminded me in a very weird way. So remember how in the last episode we were talking with Dax about your overheating PS5?
Yep.
Okay, so you know what he did literally days later?
Put it on its side.
Yeah, no, not only that. He upgraded his hard drive.
Oh, his SSD. Okay, good.
Yeah, but now Sony has the official ones, right? Like the official.
Mine's certified with the Sony logo on it. Like
that's the thing. It's but certified isn't the same as.
Like I bought a Western Digital Sony logo Sony thing. Like I was just like because I felt like an idiot in the Best Buy because I'm like, well, I just don't know what to buy because I don't want to go on Amazon because they say it's compatible, but I don't know. And I said, is this compatible? And the guy just was like, there's the Sony logo. He's like,
but
PlayStation.
Did you make the Best Buy?
Probably not. It's probably more.
Yeah, I doubt you did.
I probably could have got it cheaper off Alibaba.
So, or Ask Jeeves.
Alibaba would have been 3 times big.
I hate when we start showing our age. All right, and I'm like, what, 15 years younger than you? Anyways. Again, I blame Juan for this. Let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about Ahsoka. It is coming out in 1 week's time. What, 9 days, 8 days, something like that?
9 days today, yeah. It's crazy.
Are you excited? How do you feel? How does this make you feel?
Are you
nervous?
I'm a little bit more nervous than excited. I don't know what to expect, so it's hard to get excited because I've been let down so often. Like, not that I had any expectation for Obi-Wan, because I really couldn't have given 2 shits. Other than the trailers look good. Right? The trailers looked interesting. And the show was not much. It left a lot to be desired. The Lego sets left a lot to be desired. Book of Boba Fett. I had so much hope for that. It went in a direction I didn't like, but it made a choice.
The best episodes were The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's without doubt. Andor 100% exceeded expectation.
I had
But-
zero expectations for Andor, to be honest.
But the bar was really low on
I think that's why.
because
So,
I'm like, I
honestly-
don't know what to expect, but what they did do was awesome.
Honestly, I have no expectations for Ahsoka. Like, I'm at the point where I've been so let down by Disney's Star Wars stuff, where I just don't. I try not to build anything up so that I enjoy whatever I'm watching. But a lot of people are like, "What do I need to watch before to know who the fuck this character is?" Number one, you're probably not gonna like this show.
Yeah.
If that's kind of like where you're coming from. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to like say, oh, you have to watch,
Yeah.
or whatever. So, but there are some things that you should probably watch beforehand.
Hey, you know
Phil,
what? The best thing
take
to
some
do
notes.
is go on YouTube. Like, go on YouTube.
YouTube has some amazing creators where they give you amazing backgrounds to stuff.
Yep.
And I'll be 100% honest, like with the God of Wars, I don't remember much from the original games. So I went on YouTube when I played the God of War PS4 game, and I got like it kind of refreshed my memory.
Same here.
But if you don't want to go to YouTube and support some amazing creators, here's a small little list. So Phil, take some notes for the notes.
Well, no, I can give you the notes if you want. I can
All right.
I can say them and you can check them against your list.
All right.
Clone Wars the movie,
Well, okay.
the animated movie.
This is now I'm going, okay.
Okay.
How about
then
I
you've got-
name them and you just say yes.
Okay.
All right. Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi, Season 1, Episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah. You're going in chronological.
Star Wars. What?
You're going in chronological because season
Yes.
1, episode 1, Tales of the Jedi is about the birth of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And then then Star Wars, Clone Wars. would
She's
be the
kind of
first
like
canonical
she's kind of like
appearance
Jesus, where you don't
Yep.
really hear too much about her until all of a sudden you do. Anyways, now that all right, sorry Todd from Tennessee for bringing church into this one. All right. Star Wars, Tales of the Jedi, Season 1, Episode 5. That was a
Yeah.
statement, not a question.
I can't. Oh, okay. It depends on how you want to classify Clone Wars. Are you talking all the Clone Wars series?
I
Or are
just
you
said
just
the
talking
movie.
that Clone Wars movie?
Just come tranquilo. Just how about you listen to my list and then you
I know,
criticize
but I don't
it.
know how that episode fits in because that's
Just
the one
fucking-
where she's working with Count Dooku.
That's
before
Tales of the Jedi,
back
Season
to
1,
home.
Episode 5.
Yeah, it's the one where she's working with Count
Yeah.
Dooku.
No, tranquilo. Because listen to me. Clone Wars, Season 5, Episodes 17 to 20. The Temple Bombing Arc.
Sure.
Clone Wars, Season 7, Episodes 9 to 12. The whole Crime Syndicate stuff.
Okay.
Tales of the Jedi, Season 1, Episode 6.
Hmm.
Rebels, Season 2.
Oh, you missed a big
Episode-
one. Missed a big one.
Episode 21 to 22. Star Wars Rebels, Season 4, Episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Star
Okay.
Wars Rebels, Season 4, Episode 13 to 15.
Yeah. Good episodes.
Great episodes. Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 5.
Okay, I'd say you missed the Mortis arc.
Yeah.
That's a huge one because
That's a
where
huge
she
one.
gets-
You're right.
That's where she gets the owl, because that's the light embodiment of the Force in the female, the sister that follows her around, that imbues her with the spirit of the Force, because that's what frees her from being a Jedi.
Yeah.
So she becomes the embodiment of the Force. So she
Yeah, that's
literally
basically
is
when-
female Jesus.
What's funny? Literally. What's funny about like the whole Ahsoka arc is she essentially proves that the Jedi are just fucking religious wizards.
Yep. That I, have you been watching Foundation season 2?
Not yet.
Did you watch 1?
Yeah.
Okay, it goes into the whole lore of the mythology around the dude who created the little thing that the Foundation core. I forget the guy's name now, but the guy, the basically the central character to the Foundation, it goes through the whole lore of how his remembrance is one of a religious experience and how all the priesthood is going around getting loaded and just tricking people out of money. it's,
That sounds
it's
about
a
right.
real cynical take on things. It's salty,
Well,
salty, salty.
think of
But
the
there
Jedi's.
are people who really believe, and that's good. And I feel the same way about the Jedi stuff. I think a really good depiction of all that was in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Remember the Indian guy who was in Silicon Valley? Had a big role in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he
Yeah.
was pretending to be a Jedi to get
Yeah.
people hooked up to the Underground Jedi Railroad, and really all he was doing was taking their money and putting them on ships and going, "You have to go there."
Yeah.
It's just yeah,
Like it's funny that it is being depicted more and more as a religion, and it's kind of funny because like, you know, that's kind of like Han Solo's take from the original Star Wars.
yep, exactly. And you know, you saw him at the end. It's true, all of it.
It's just kind of funny. Speaking of Star Wars, in a weird way. So, anyways, before we move on, Ahsoka, tons like it makes me laugh so much that this is a character that when the Clone Wars cartoon came out, people loathed,
Hated.
people hated.
Hated
The
Sith.
actress, the voice actress, was like getting
Ashley
death threats.
Ashley Eckstein.
Yep.
She's married to a pitcher, Eckstein. Pitched for the Dodgers, I believe, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. I knew you'd know that.
You know sports. Yay. Want a hero biscuit?
No, I just knew that you knew that sport. LA boy. Just saying. But Ashley, yes, she's a very sweet girl, and she went through a lot of torment and trouble over
Big time.
her portrayal of Snips. But that being said, the writing evolved. George approved the character. It was Dave's baby, and Dave learned a lot really fast. And it's a credit whenever you watch the last. You don't even necessarily have to watch the Rebel stuff. The Rebel stuff will be great for watching as a lead into the Ahsoka series, but
Well,
all you need to really
be
know
fair,
is in that final season of Clone Wars with the Ahsoka arc. I don't know about you, but I felt more passionate about Ahsoka's well-being and story arc than I did about anything that ever had to do with Luke Skywalker.
are we talking about the last season of Clone Wars?
Yeah.
The
I think
last
that battle with Darth Maul
basically
was the best
since
the best lightsaber battle on screen.
yes. Basically essentially from the time that the bombing arc happened.
Yeah.
You were 100% invested in this character. And you know, you actually cared whether this character died or not.
Yep. And then the whole aspect of her and her relationship with Darth Vader, who Anakin ultimately becomes, and her discovery during Rebels that Darth is Anakin, and it looks like that gets explored a lot in Ahsoka as well. Like some of the new trailers are talking openly about that. Some of the new TV spots.
Yep.
So I don't even know what that, because Disney's playbook has been this. Talk about the first 2 episodes, like the crap out of it. Show all the side, all the spoily bits out of the first 2 episodes, and don't leak a freaking thing about the other 9 or the other 8. And I'm just sitting there looking at the breadth of what we're getting and the amount of commentary that we're hearing. And whoa, man, like how geeked am I that we're getting something that existed in non-canon format in the E-Wing in live action now. And it's actually a Lego toy. Like this is crazy. Some of the new Rebel ships and whatnot that only existed in like the legend stuff.
Yep.
And it's becoming real life now, and it's like that Star Wars part of me is geeking out a little bit over stuff. Being said, it doesn't look like an amazing ship, but Sabine Wren being live, Sabine being an apprentice is going to be a fun take after all of her training with the Darksaber and all of that history. Like, there's so much richness to what they built on with the Mandalorian that was really explored during Rebels.
Yeah. Rebels
And
was a great show when you think about it. Like, I knew this
oh,
watching it, but seeing that essentially everything that we have seen on screen, for the most part, maybe minus Book of Boba Fett and Andor, stems from Rebels in some shape, way, or form.
yeah, like even the biggest moments in Obi-Wan were from Rebels.
Yeah.
And even like Obi-Wan's arc, like Rebels was the arc where he defeated Darth Maul.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like and that is the actual end of Darth Maul, like, supposedly. So he doesn't show up in canon after that. Like him showing up in Solo is before Rebels. So it's crazy to think.
Good old Solo. Speaking of Solo, love this segue. Watched Oppenheimer last week.
Oof. And
Alex made the most outrageous comment I've ever heard in my life.
oh no. What?
Just remember what I said earlier. Speaking of Solo. So, we leave the theater. We're all happy. Good movie. Good movie. Good movie. It's me, Alex, and Juan. We're just talking about the movie. Then all of a sudden, I forget exactly how this comment went. And essentially said, blah, 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 Han Solo. Wait a minute. Harrison Ford wasn't in this movie. Then it clicked. Fucking kids.
Oh. Alden Ehrenreich.
Yeah.
Oh.
I knew that was going to kill you.
Oh, I'm going to be sick. Oh.
I knew you were going to I knew you were going to react like this. Because I reacted like this when I put two and two together.
Oh, I'm glad he got work. After Brave New World, which I liked, but woof, that was a bit of a doozy.
Yep.
There's a new trend, all right? On top of that, I tried watching Oppenheimer. All right, you guys know I don't want to go to the movie theater. I'm a no COVID guy, and I don't even want to risk it. My niece went to a freaking outdoor concert and caught COVID a few weeks ago, so
Yep.
I'm just like, man, you can't even go to the X. So I'm just like, pass. Pass. I have a friend who has, a service that streams movies. I sometimes go in there and I'm like, oh, look, here's a new movie. Across the Spider-Verse was in there. Aside from having to listen to a kid eat a bag of popcorn with his mouth open, it was an okay experience. The camera was in focus. Felt like it was pretty immersive. I'm like, I'm glad I bought it on 4K digital and I bought another 4K disc. I'll double support that movie because I felt so bad about like watching the peep copy. But lo and behold, Barbie and Oppenheimer show up. And I don't know where whoever filmed these things sits or resides or whatever. But there is a new trend in which they just basically put all kinds of bouncy icons and shit all the way through the movie to advertise that hacker group or that group of people who's doing this. And no, just no, stop. No. I'll wait the year and a half for the movie to come out on a proper streaming service, and I'll do what I can to buy the physical media if it's for sale, if I like it. Because, man, it's getting weird out there. It's even over the top for Barbie. I can't tell what's the movie and what's, this group's new ad campaign on whatever the hell they're selling, but it doesn't look like it's legal.
Yeah.
It's weird out there. It used to be just a little thing that would run up and down, like www. Somethinginrussia.com if you want more of this stuff. Yeah, sure, I'm going to go there.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's
Boom.
it's just a really
Computer
weird
infected.
thing.
But yeah, Oppenheimer's a good movie. I think you would like it. Doesn't feel
Yeah.
long at all. They do a great job. But yeah, I just when he said that, I'm like,
Oh,
he did like he knows. He knows. But
good.
he's at that age where
Good on him.
Yeah.
At least that's a feather in Alden Ehrenreich's hat. Like somebody recognized him for that, and it is a good Star Wars movie.
It is like that's the thing. Like it's just like, but it was so funny because as soon as he said blah 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 Han Solo, I'm like, Harrison Ford wasn't in this movie. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Then I'm like, oh no, I know who he's talking about. And I'm like, wait a minute. Gotta talk about this. I feel like I failed as a geek uncle for a couple minutes.
Yeah, for a little bit there. Yeah, it's kind of touch and go. At least he got it. Like, but yeah, Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones. Is Han Solo and Indiana Jones.
Can you imagine
Forever
saying this to Harrison Ford? Fucking kids.
Yeah. God damn it, being replaced. Well,
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? You see Billy D. Williams walking down the street with Donald Glover, and you go, Lando. You feel like such an idiot then. Like, I don't know. They're both good.
I was literally gonna say that, something similar to that. It's like calling Danny Glover fucking Lando.
Yeah, but I would. He's so good at it. I'm like, I believe that you're like young Billy D when I see you on the screen. And it's not because you're black, it's because you have the attitude. You figured out how to portray him. But Alden Ehrenreich felt like Alden was playing Han Solo. Like it just felt like
It felt like it was cosplaying him. Like that was the thing. But that goes to show you how good of a job Harrison Ford actually did, right?
Well, I think Harrison Ford played himself.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like I just think that he's an asshole in real life that's full of those smart
Okay,
comments.
look at his best roles. Indiana Jones.
Yep, it's him.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford is him. Han Solo.
And let's just jump 45 years. That new show that he's on with Siegel.
Shrinking. Crusty old man. That's him.
Exactly.
I agree, man. I think that he's just that guy. He's a little bit better in his older years. If anything, he's a little happier. I don't know.
Remember, like right before Force Awakens came out, dude, he was just a bitter older man.
Yeah, but then Indiana Jones, he seems to be like the coolest guy in the world. Like, it's nice playing this guy. I'm celebrating his achievement.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's happening? He's getting soft.
He was not like that when Force Awakens came out. He was like, he wanted nothing to do with that movie. It felt like.
And I hate to tell you, man, like as an original Star Wars fan, that death clock is ticking on everyone. Like I'm just like James Earl Stone.
I know.
James Earl Jones is still alive. Like Anthony Daniels, please, God, please just have mercy. Like Mark Hamill is older than Alec Guinness when Alec was portraying the original Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm like, oh, you guys are living on borrowed time. Let me tell you what. Carrie Fisher, dead at the age of 50, looked like she was 75.
Yep.
I'm kidding. Poor Carrie. All
right. Want to talk some streaming?
Yeah. How much?
Speaking of deaths and deep sixing people and things, let's talk about streaming and cable.
Using ourselves, yes. Using our wallets.
So streaming TV is now more expensive than cable packages. This is coming out from an analysis, and it's saying that a crash is coming. This is coming after reports that Apple TV Plus, Max, Disney, and Hulu, just to name a few, are all increasing prices. And it was made official last week that Disney Plus is going to be, and everyone's going to be doing this, implementing the same geo-tracking and user tracking that Netflix is implementing.
Password sharing is bad, people.
Yep.
That's what they're going to do. They're increasing the prices and they're slapping the wrists. After selling you the service to give to your kids.
Let's talk about this. When we talked about this to start the show. Netflix. When you think of streaming, you think Netflix. Everyone's got almost everyone. I know a lot of people are starting to now cut
Yeah.
Netflix, but Netflix is far beyond probably the one that most people have had the longest, right?
And it's probably the most expensive.
Yeah,
Unless you're
probably.
hanging on to that legacy account, like that $9.99, but you're only getting like non 4K streams. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it's a $21.99 thing a month in Canada after
I pay
tax.
25,
Well, there you go.
but
I'm
that's
looking
more TV screens and the 4K.
4K. Yeah, me too. So it's 25 now. It used to be 22.
Yeah,
Oh,
and even that's going up, right? So Netflix, when Netflix came out, it was like the only one, and everyone kind of signed up, and like a lot of TV companies and production companies really didn't know what this whole streaming thing was going to be, right? And I'm pretty sure that Netflix was able to coerce or whatever, get agreements on a bunch of these distribution contracts based off of the old model of Netflix, which was like the whole, the box and mailing stuff and blah, 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 blah. So it was easy for them to get people to sign for this new streaming idea, right?
mm-hmm.
But then what we started seeing is that everyone and their mother started releasing their own streaming service. And as everyone and their mother started releasing their own streaming service, like Paramount Plus or CBS Go, as it used to be called, like HBO Max or HBO, I forget whatever it was called before, and et cetera, et cetera. Disney, everyone started creating their own channel. So, and they started pulling from Netflix, which was the catch-all.
Yeah. Yep.
Here in Canada, we're a little bit luckier, but we're not getting as lucky, right?
It's
Because
tough,
the
man.
catch-all
Things like Crave.
Craven Netflix,
Yeah.
right?
Crave and Netflix.
Like,
But that being said, as an average Canadian consumer who's invested in this, I just did a quick total and I'm at about $110 a month in subscription services. Now that's covering two things that are fringy in this discussion, but I still feel that they impact. And that is I picked up a Spotify early on and I've kept that going, which is increasing. And I also pay for a family plan on YouTube Premium, which is a sizable amount. It's 25 or $30 a month.
yeah, but
So,
worth it.
but worth it. That's probably the biggest value I have for money. But you factor in Netflix, you factor in Disney Plus, you factor in Apple TV, you factor in Paramount, you factor in Prime Video, which is a subset of an increasingly yearly cost for that subscription. And then you could even factor in Game Pass subscriptions and things like that. Like that's all like streaming a video game is no different than streaming a movie as far as that goes. So this is like really fragmented the market so that,
Yep.
and the worst part is, again, it goes back to what we discussed with Dax the other week, is that one of the, biggest hacks is that the streaming services aren't transparent with the volume of hours that are being watched. I think I saw something that got leaked out the other day that Suits
Yeah.
had over 30
A
billion
billion.
30
Yeah.
billion hours
30
like streamed or something. And the writers only got paid $1,500 collectively
Mm-hmm.
or something insane like that. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just an absolute mockery of numbers. And
Yeah.
that's the incredible part is how much money is funneling into this and everyone's pretending like none of it is. So,
You know what's funny? Okay, so a couple points I want to make. So hang on to your hats for a little bit. So, back a year ago, services cost only on average $73 a month. Now, they're at the time it was 83 for an average for cable. Because of the price increases, people are now paying $87 on average for streaming services, and cable is still at 83. Now let's take a look at the price hikes. We have Apple TV Plus is now $6.99. That's 40% hike. Disney in December they increased 25% from $7.99 to $10.99 for the basic.
Yeah, and that's going up again.
Last month they went up to $13.99. So that's 75% in less than a year, and they plan to go up again later this year. Hulu 20%, $14.99 to $17.99. Max went from 15 to 16. And then Netflix keeps going up and up and up and up. So
And then here in Canada, you've got Crave stapling in at a minimum $20.
minimum 20. And if you add
Well, unless
stars,
I guess
and
there's like a $10 plan if you only watch it on
starter,
your,
yeah.
and then you got
on-
stars, then you got AMC, then you got blah blah blah.
So
Oof.
cable is still at $83, and streaming is going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Now here in Canada, just last week, TSN. You know what? Did you see what TSN has done?
Nope.
So TSN, for a few months, they were giving away their new TSN Plus for free. Cool. I'm happy. I thought that was their streaming service. But no, last week it became very apparent what this was. What TSN Plus is. You have the 5 TSN channels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have TSN Plus. TSN Plus was a service available to you if you had a cable subscription, or you can, get the subscription on its own, and you can watch the 6th channel. The 6th channel was whatever else was on. So sometimes there would be 3 or 4 things on at the same time, and you can just choose what you wanted.
Okay.
Now that's gone. It's now called TSN Plus. So if you have a cable subscription to TSN, you have to pay an extra $8 a month
What?
for this TSN Plus.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Bell Media.
Yeah. That's Roger.
So the second point I wanted to make before we have our discussion is this. The glory days of streaming was when Netflix was the one to rule them all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, I made the conscious decision. We're gonna talk openly about this right now. I made the conscious decision of, you know what? I'm not gonna get stuff through the gray web anymore because it's too much hassle.
Yep.
Sometimes, exactly, LimeWire, stuff like that, right? So I made the conscious decision.
Never been there. I heard about it.
I made the conscious
R-80s.
I made the conscious. You're making me say a word I hate saying because I can't pronounce it properly. I made the conscious decision to stop torrenting, stop getting stuff from the gray web, etc., etc., etc. But now I'm at a point where there's just so many subscription services, stuff that we don't even get in Canada, and it's funny because the whole debacle with Twisted Metal, I was this close to getting it off of the gray web because I had no other choice, or I thought I had no other choice.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing trend-wise is that illegal torrenting and getting stuff from the gray web, illegal streaming, et cetera, is on the rise and rise and rise. So these companies then, now, here's the moral dilemma. So that's my point. But what makes me laugh is you have companies like Netflix who their whole thing is people deserve to get paid. How about you fucking pay them?
Yeah.
They're getting paid just as much, me downloading something illegally, than me using your service. But you're getting paid, not the creators.
Exactly. I agree with you, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy right now because it quite literally, we were joking about it with Dax last time, is making the comment, well, I want to pay for that media because I want to support the fact that it exists, and I like to think that some of that compensation goes to the people who created it, and it's just a belly laugh now. Like, is it? Is it?
No, it's
By
not.
paying my 13, my 17, my $25 a month for Netflix, is it going to anything other than a bottom line for Netflix? You know what I mean? Like, it's a ridiculous proposition, and yeah, I just see that The other thing that I know a lot of people do is they use these things called IPTV. So they pay a monthly subscription
Yes,
to something
I had
that's
one of
set up
those.
at a booth in a flea market and stuff like that, right? They pay a monthly, they get a contract, and they pay like $7 a month for the IPTV to be updated and all this stuff. Well, apparently now Bell and Rogers are so angry about the rise of IPTV in Canada that they're starting to sniff out all the IPTV streamers, like the streaming services that are supplying them the streams now. So IPTV is increasingly going dark for users. So it was something
Well,
that they just didn't
for a
care
few
about for a long time.
years,
And now they're like, oh, this is bad because business is complaining because people are getting
funny
something
enough,
that they want money for.
not that I know, I'm just throwing this out there from, hearsay.
Yeah.
Possibly, maybe.
The word on
A
the
lot of
street.
these word on the street. I have my ear to the ground,
Yep.
street level. Oftentimes they even get these IPTV services. Apparently, is through buying Bitcoin and stuff like that. Like you can't even go through regular means.
Interesting. I wouldn't do that. Like that's a red flag there. I'm not
Well,
going to become a crypto brother.
wow, I'm just saying.
Crypto bro. No way. I
I'm
wouldn't
just
do
saying.
that. Hey man, you know what you got to do? You got to get a friend with Plex and a good internet connection.
Good internet
Not
connection.
yours, his.
A good internet connection solves everything, my friend.
Yeah, you just type in a message. Hey, I'm looking for Twisted Metal. Oh, damn it. You got episodes 6 through 10. I want 1 through 5. Paramount TV subscription. Start. I know how to get to cancel in my Amazon menu.
Yep.
Here's a good one. Pluto TV, CBC Gem, Plex. Yes, the
Yep.
freebies. The only complaint that I have after watching many hours of Pluto TV is this.
More
I'm
commercials
starting
than
to
regular TV.
more commercials than regular TV, and they're not paying attention to the TV cut lines.
Yeah.
So it's quite literally
Don't even get me
you're
started with that.
it's like watching YouTube, right? You're just like watching something and then boom, ad just comes in. Like I now know that Grammarly is a full AI program that wants to rewrite all your emails for work and everything, to the point where I'm like sending my boss an email like, do we have a company policy against like feeding Grammarly and Chat GPT all of our corporation secrets? Because other than the code of ethics, like I don't know that people understand this, that you're feeding a robot to tell you all of your corporate secrets out into an email. Like, this is icky stuff. Like, because they are selling the crap out of that. But the point is that you're watching something like Top Gear. And I don't know if you've ever watched Top Gear before, but they usually run like a little piece called a star in a reasonably priced car. All right. And, these old guys get up there. It's great. I love it. They tell stories. They drive a car around a racetrack and everything like that. And you'll see Jeremy Clarkson up there conducting the interview. And then he'll go, let's get to our lap with a star in a reasonably priced car. Boom. Grammarly commercial. And then you have to watch all the commercials. And then they go back to the lap. And then sometimes at the end of the lap, well, let's see how you did on the time. Then boom, more commercials. And I'm just like, I know that wasn't a commercial break, but now I'm stuck here watching Drew Barrymore fall into a frickin' pillow from the heavens, or a cute dropping. I now know what a cute drop is. Something on the subway.
Meet cute.
Meet
Come
cute.
on, get your shit straight.
Oh man.
Get your shit together.
Man, that girl's falling apart. I'm telling you.
I think she fell apart at the ripe old age of 13, to be honest.
Wow, she looks like she's had some rough times, that kid now. But anyhow, I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. Like this is a lot. It's like watching a movie on AMC. Every 3 minutes there's a commercial. It's if you're old like me, you got lots of chances to go pee. It's great.
That's literally why they do it, probably.
But they are good. Like free content's free content. And I love that there's no real login or anything like that. And there's also CTV. I used to use CTV's thing a lot, app a lot, because it was just, they would let you
The
stream
retro
free
TV?
movies. Yeah, they'd let you stream like Ghostbusters and all kinds of stuff. And if you logged in, there was no commercials, if I remember.
I have those
right.
set up, right? I have those set up just because I have cable.
Yeah. Well, that's the weird thing to me too, because we're getting into this weird thing, like we talked about with Paramount being a channel on my Amazon Prime. The crazy thing is that you've also got like all of the Stack TV channels, and it's so funny because they've done such a great job marketing. There's some friend of mine who's the exact same age as me, and he's like talking to me, and he's going, "I'm going to cancel my cable." I'm like, all right, well, there's no more live sports unless you're only watching soccer on MLS, right? Like, I'm going to cancel my cable. I'm like, okay, what are you replacing it with? What are you going to do? And he goes, my sister's husband has Stack TV, so he can watch Adult Swim and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, they're regular channels that you probably already get. Like, you can set up recording,
So
or
what
like,
actually pisses me off about Stack TV, about I forget who else does it, and the way that they advertise it is that they make it seem like it's this standalone streaming service.
yeah,
But what a lot of people don't realize is that if you already have cable, you just need to log on using your cable info.
yep, there's that, and there's like, or you could just pay attention to your cable info, and like I set the Adventures of Superman to record every Thursday night at midnight,
Yeah, yeah,
like
but that's what I
PBR.
mean, right? Like,
Like,
but that's the thing, right? Now, I'm surprised, and I feel like I'm just opening up Pandora's box by even saying this. Password sharing when it comes to cable and stuff.
oh, interesting. Yeah, I know that like certain things lock you in. I think that's why, at least regionally, Rogers have put on a big push to go to Rogers Ignite, because that is pure
The IP.
IP over TV, just like Bell Fibe is.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter, because if you don't have the service, if you don't have the box that decodes it, you're not able to pass out your password. The only thing you're going to get is the app. And I got to say, I've used the app. You know, I've used it
It's fine.
at places where I shouldn't be using it. And, like let's just say I go down for lunch and then I want to stream something that's on TV, and I pull it up on the phone. It works. I guess it's better now with 5G plans and whatnot, and
It works now.
especially
It works
open
now.
plans. Because like my Rogers account, I just expanded it to 110 gigabytes, and it's just insane. Because now I feel like a girl eating the cookie on the commercial. I don't have to worry. The cookie's just there. How'd they know? Right?
Cookie's
Stream it.
just there.
I don't need to download it. Just stream it. The cookie's there.
The cookie's right there.
And that was the other thing. I actually had a chat with a friend of mine about this, who makes commercials like that, about why everything's cookies now, and does that piss him off? Because he's like, no, it's harder actually getting all the bell things in the commercial, all the blue lines. He's like,
Yeah.
and the fact that they want an Instagram, a TikTok, and Reels thing all in one shot. He goes, so
Mhm.
you're shooting 3 different formats in one shot, and you don't get paid for it anymore for it. Has to all go in one take. So he's just like, you're just in the editing room nonstop afterwards. But it's funny seeing the trends.
It's funny because that's how I feel about a lot of stuff in terms of just content, the one source. But yeah, that's man, streaming is going to be a very interesting road, and honestly, I see it getting more expensive. I see cable being less expensive in the future, and at the end of the day, let's be honest, a lot of the better shows are the streaming only shows,
Yeah.
where because of this stupid strike and these dumbass studios not being smart, is that a lot of these streaming shows are going to be now going to regular cable because they need content.
Yep. It's a crazy world. It's a different world than it was just 4 or 5 years ago.
Pre-pandemic. Like,
Seasons
it's
are
not just the
10.
pandemic that changed a lot. It's honestly, I feel like 2020 is like this weird moment in cut in time.
Yeah,
Where,
it's like episodic 20 plus episode seasons just cease to exist, and everything
Yeah.
went to a 10-episode condensed format,
Or 8
no matter
or
what,
7.
or 8 or 6. Like, it's just all of a sudden everything went condensed, and that's the new norm. Like, oh, Ted Lasso's out 13 or 15 episodes or whatever it was, and it's like you're celebrating in the streets because that seems like a lot. And I'm like, yeah, and then you go back and
Remember?
you watch Big Bang Theory, and it's like 23 episodes a
22,
season, 22.
23, 24. Yep.
Oh, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. I feel old.
It is nuts.
Look at that gray coming in.
You're getting old.
I try.
Getting old.
We're all getting old, but watch your pocketbooks, everybody. Now, if you're looking for us on a website, find us at www.itscanonpodcast.com. Like I was saying at the beginning, Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. You're going to find us at It's Canon Podcast. Email us at show@itscanonpodcast.com. You can subscribe anywhere where you find podcasts. Like, really, just take a look around. We're even on patreon.com/SNME Radio. Our good friends there. If you like wrestling podcasts, that's the place for you, and many other sports and pop culture things popping up all the time over there with our friends. And if you like what you hear, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you can, if the platform supports it. And thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us on the It's Canon podcast. Tell a friend you had a good time, even if you didn't.
Just lie. Just lie.
Just lie.
Just lie. And remember, you can find us live each and every Monday. And I think we're going to change the time right now. We'll see. We'll talk about that offline.
Sounds
But
good.
we don't have to start as early with Tyler not being on for now.
Sure enough, we can start a little more later in the night and see if we can get Alex to drop by and tell us more about the adventures of New Han Solo.
Oh my god. But you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and even Twitch live each and every single Monday. So thank you so much if you're watching us, listening to us, dealing with us. If you've made it this far into the show, I cannot thank you enough. As always, this is the It's Canon Podcast, the show where we talk about anything and everything. The show where we talk about, well, we talk about toys, comics, books, video games, Lego, streaming services, etc.
Twisted Metal, baby. Twisted Metal.
Exactly. We'll talk
Go
about
watch
that.
it. Go watch.
He's Phil. I'm Boris. Thank you for listening. Till next time. Good.